Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Social Cafe. Is this an episode? Anyway, a gathering, a panel, a discussion on Social Cafe event on Google Hangouts on Air. There we go. That's a mouthful. Welcome, Gail, and welcome, Con.
Greetings, how's all? Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Oh, that's right. Yes, everybody, happy St. Patrick's Day. That's right. You know, I thought of that yesterday, but obviously I had the wrong date. I was thinking, like, in South Africa, it was St. Patrick's Day yesterday. That didn't come out right.
It still is the West and Eastern Pacific.
There we go. Well, you know, we should like happy St. Patrick's Day for 2 days, and then we can cover everybody.
Works.
You sound really good, Con. Like, good
Yeah,
sound
no,
quality.
it's this new headset. Michael helped me just set it up the other day, and looks good. I'll get some other equipment in here hopefully next week, and yeah, it took me a while, but I think I got something that works.
It does. It doesn't it sound good, Gail?
Yes, yes, we were discussing that earlier.
Oh, I missed that one because I'm seeing how close I can come to the wire and showing up. But so, what are we learning tonight that we learned for the last? Let's see. This is our 10th week in the series.
hmm
Our final week.
Well, I think people like what I heard tonight was planning's important to them, content's important, developing following. Those seem to be the three themes that I noticed for the first part of the discussion.
That's a good point. Now, here's the thing: is how do we? It's good that we've defined what we're going to do. Now, how do we go out and do it?
For our discussions or for what we do in our businesses?
Just in general, like for example, yeah, I saw planning come up there pretty quickly. I saw all three of those at the very beginning of the chat, like you said. So, how would we advise someone as far as planning? Do you sit down with a piece of paper and brainstorm anything that comes to mind? Do you use a particular tool? What do you think the first step is as far as planning?
Planning for me, and just using myself as an example, is determining what are my goals in terms of working backwards from revenue, number of customers, looking at the service offerings that I have, and then beginning to, this is where I talked on the chat about developing a following and a channel that would begin to populate those for me. What kind of content can I publish, targeting which audiences, how do I do it on a regular basis using LinkedIn, Twitter, my blog to begin to attract people and then engage them, and what works and what doesn't work for me.
So I don't know if it was last week it came up in the chat, but one of the questions was, you know, do I create the following first? Do I do the planning first? And I think most of the people responded that it's somewhat simultaneous. I mean, if you do all the
Yeah.
planning, you've got all your content out there, but you have no following, then who are you producing it
It's
for?
it's got to be simultaneous, because as you produce your content, theoretically, excuse me, you'll begin to have more followers. That will give you input to revise your content. Some things work, some things don't work. I find that book reviews seem to get people excited pretty quickly. Problem is, since I'm not running the New York Times book review, it's not going to generate a lot of business for me, but it does help develop a following, and I use those books subjects as topics for future content going forward, figuring that if they like the book, they'll probably like to see some more material about it, and the authors, out of gratitude, will retweet or reshare my material.
That's a great idea. That's a great idea. That's like I wrote some papers for college, and I'm like, this is pretty good for a blog topic, so I would capture it and stick it as a draft, and then go in later. Obviously, modify it because it's just a little too academic to be interesting
A
reading on a
good
blog.
a good university paper is probably good for a dozen or more blog topics if you chunk it up properly, and possibly dozens, if not hundreds, of Twitters or possible articles on LinkedIn Publisher.
Thank you, because I think I have like 30 papers that I could put into Tech Audit. Thanks,
I
Con.
just took care of your editorial calendar till you retire.
There we go. Now, Gail, we talked about planning, was it a couple weeks ago, and you have a little different approach where it's like you decide what you're doing that particular day. Is that correct?
I'm not. There are lots of people who have their editorial calendar out for a month, and I don't do that much. Um, I'm more of a spur of the moment kind of person. I do have ideas. Like I have a lot of drafts in my blog, or somebody may ask a question, and then I'll write an answer to that. And so I don't normally plan that much ahead, but I'm not really running it as a business that has to generate income or that has to have a certain amount of traffic. I will say that the best content is what will grow your following. So if you're writing the right stuff, when you share it, it gets shared, and then you get more followers because of the content that you publish. And so you can't really grow your following that efficiently unless you're sharing content, and if you're going to do that, you might as well share some of your own along with everything else you share.
One thing I've noticed is that as I develop, I mean, I started from square zero almost a year ago, that as you get more content, more followers are attracted to you. So you might have to write for, maybe almost a year before you're going to start seeing some traction. While I agree they're simultaneous, I think they're a little out of phase shift, and it may take a while. And I may know in a year or two if there's going to be a more direct connection between my content and the immediate response as opposed to a lagging indicator.
That's a good point. Years ago, I came up with a series of like 15 things you don't want to hear on Twitter, or actually you do want to hear, it's like sharing what I'm doing in the bathroom or, things like that. And I thought, wow, this is a great series, and I do one a day, and I had images, and, and it was like nobody noticed. But that's because when I was doing it, I didn't really have a following at that time. But now it's interesting because some of that old stuff on my blog, people are finding it like, wow, this is really funny, this is great, and sharing it. And it's like, I wrote that a long time ago.
I do experiments under pen names just so I can do stupid things and learn by those mistakes and not tarnish my professional reputation, such as it is. And I find that retweeting and reusing content helps a lot. And with even a simple tool like Hootsuite, you can tweet almost 100 times a day, get it set up the night before, and it runs, and you can get dozens, hundreds of responses over time. It's all cumulative, and people are attracted to the content, and they share theirs with you, and it starts from there. So it's good content, but some people have criticized me. They've said, well, if you do something once, that should be enough. And I'm like, well, no. Everything I've read says reuse, reshare. I've looked at the terms of service of Twitter, and I don't think you get in trouble unless you start tweeting over 1,000 tweets a day. Then you start attracting people's attention. But if you're well within that and you do everything else right, it works.
That makes a lot of sense. Gail?
People are kind of weird. There are people with perfect memories who think that you should only ever share anything once because they might have seen it before. But the average person can't remember what they saw last week. And so it really doesn't hurt. In fact, I really like the feature in Social Oomph that lets them put like evergreen content in there, and it just keeps on tweeting forever. There's a post of mine that I think that's what some other people have done, because this one particular post gets shared, just out of the blue about once a month by the same people. And so I actually went in and edited the post and put a better image in it, because I figured if they're going to be tweeting it for me, it might as well be optimized. It's a really old post. I think it's from 2009. I want people to remember, I don't want them to give up. I know there's a lot of newbies that follow us. It's really strange that when you've got people that share your content right away, but they normally don't comment right away. They comment later, sometimes 24 or 48 hours later. And so don't assume that just because your content got shared, nobody commented that nobody read it.
Yeah.
Lots of people don't comment. Busy people comment later if they get around to it.
I read an article a couple of months ago that said if you're lucky, 10% of your followers on Twitter are online when you post anything.
If you're lucky.
If you're lucky. And then maybe of that 10%, only 3% will actually read what you posted. So, if you think about it in terms of numbers like that, you have to constantly keep reposting at different times. And, under my pen name, I do a 7x24, and that seems to work. Try it one part of the day, try it later next time, and you just rotate it through. And some of these pieces take on a life of their own.
Yep, and I actually appreciate when people retweet stuff, because I'll see something in a feed, think, well, it's really interesting, and then the phone will ring, and I'll forget about it, and then when it comes up again, it's like, oh, that was it, I want to go look at it. And so I appreciate it when people are retweeting their own.
Yeah.
But really, I don't think most people mind, because I retweet a lot of content. Like if I share something, I published a post today, it'll probably get 30 to 50 shares. Some of those will get retweeted. I'll see them and I'll retweet them again. And so I know I put that content out there 2 or 3 times in the same day, and I haven't had anybody complain. Now, I can't guarantee I don't have anybody that unfollows because they don't like that, but I don't think that it's really a big problem. I mean, if you go click on home or just go to my page and see how fast stuff goes by on Twitter, the more followers we have, the faster it goes by. If you want an influencer with 50 or 60,000 followers to see something, the odds of them seeing it the first time it goes flying by are not very good. If it goes by 2 or 3 times, they might actually get to see it. And if you really want them to see it, you better use a compelling image or a video or a slide share, because those I see probably 20 times more than just a tweet.
Definitely. Hey, Gail, you mentioned Social Oomph, and you updated the tweet that they're sharing once a month. You might want to contact whoever's tweeting it to see if they can update it in their Social Oomph.
They don't have to, because I didn't change the URL. All I did was add a better image.
Oh, okay.
In 2009, there weren't Twitter cards, and when I first started blogging, I didn't necessarily put images or I didn't use big, bright images at the top of every post like I do now.
Gotcha. So you're talking about the blog post.
Right, in the post itself.
Okay. Okay. I thought you meant the tweet, and I thought, okay, they're going to have whatever the old tweet from 2009 is what's loaded in Social Oomph.
Oh, well, I suppose it could be, but who would know except for them?
Right, but I mean, if you change the tweet, then you'd want to contact them and say, hey, could you, since you like this so much, but it doesn't sound like you need to do that because you're talking about the blog post.
Yeah, so yeah, I just edited the blog post. I figure if it's going to get regular tweets, it should be optimized. And like I said, I do things different from what I've learned over time now than I did when I first started blogging. So some of that old content, the content itself is still valid, and I keep the posts, the links, the broken links. I have Broken Link Checker plugin, and I'll go through and delete a bunch of bad links regularly. And so the posts they're all still relevant today. That how you decide how people are searching for your content didn't change anything from when I wrote it till now. So that post is still totally relevant. I just gave it a prettier picture.
That makes a lot of sense. And then that shows up as far as the Twitter card.
Yeah, well, courtesy of between MavSocial and Canva, I can make much prettier images now than I did back then.
Yes, they are prettier.
Now, I mean, we should never. People need to understand that images make a huge difference.
Yeah.
Like you can tell, like if you look at the big sites like Forbes, they tend to use the little tiny image in their Twitter card. That doesn't attract any attention. And
What if we know that?
It's not compelling, but if you go to Discover on Twitter, there's a # Discover at the top. If you click on that and just start looking through there to see what catches your eye, you'll figure out that, a really compelling image is what makes people stop scrolling through everything long enough to see what it is you shared.
Images are critical, even though I'm still not using a lot of them yet. I'm still working on content for my own submitting materials, but images are critical.
And there's so many different ways to test them, too. Like I'm testing with the beauty blog on Instagram, and it's interesting to actually look, like on my phone, I can see how many shares, at a glance, and it's interesting to see which ones are like, 3 times as many favorites and so forth. And Instagram's like that image obviously attracts many people.
Especially on mobile, because you know how people you've seen on television shows where people are like scrolling quickly through their Twitter on a mobile.
Yep.
So unless you've got a picture that'll really grab their attention, they're just going to go flying by. But if the picture grabs their attention, then they'll stop, then they'll read the title, and then if you've got a decent title, you might get the click. Without the image, they probably never saw the title, so it didn't even have a chance to get them to click.
Hey, by the way, random, not really connected with the summary of this series, but something that I learned last week, and that is that Dennis, and I don't want to butcher his last name, but he's the developer of Board Booster. He also has Pin Doctor, And Gail, you mentioned broken links, and I was just thinking about that as far as broken links on pins. And there's a tool. If you look up Board Booster, there's also a companion tool. I think it's called Pin Doctor that will go into your pins. I think it's free. Go into your pins and find any broken links. So if your blog post URL has changed, or something that you pinned from another blog has changed, but it's on your Pinterest board, this tool will go and find it so that you can fix it. So just kind of upping the quality of the Pinterest boards.
No, that's great. That's a good tip. I hadn't heard about them before.
Yeah, that was incredible. I thought, how does the whole world not know about this? But you know what? And I didn't do this for promotional reasons, but I'm going to capitalize on that one anyway. But tune in. We start our tool series next week, and some point in that tool series, we will feature Dennis and Board Booster, and he will tell you more about Pin Doctor. So in the Social Cafe series.
Yeah, we'll have to find out where it is. I tried pindoctor.com, and that's actually an acupuncturist.
Oh, wow, great! Shout out to the is it acupuncturist or whatever the term is?
Acupuncturist.
Okay, there we go. Thank you. It should be boardbooster.com, and then it's one of the tools you sign up there.
Okay, it's on Board Booster, all right.
Yes, and speaking of, we're featuring Viral Tag tomorrow night. If everything works out fine on WebTools TV, so that's 2 different Pinterest tools if people are into Pinterest.
Yeah, we need to use that because most of the other tools we use don't cover Pinterest. So we almost have to use a separate tool for Pinterest. I think something uses that has Pinterest on it. I don't remember what. I don't think it's Hootsuite. I know it's not MapSocial. I don't think it's Octopost. Like I said, mostly if you want to do Pinterest, you need a Pinterest tool.
Exactly. Are you thinking Viral Tag? Because I think Viral Tag opened up to, and we'll know more tomorrow night on WebTools TV. But I think
Viral Tag does Pinterest and Facebook and LinkedIn.
Right. Right. They used to be like the only one, and they used to just do Pinterest, and now they're opening up to others. So that makes sense that you were thinking of Viral Tag.
Right.
Sorry, jumping ahead of ourselves into the tool series, but so what were the other? Okay, the other items were content. People are talking about kind of upping, and we've just been talking about images, so that's a part of content. What strategies?
And people are also talking about the engagement of their following. And I'm going to murder her name. Excuse me 1 second. It was, sorry.
That's okay. We don't want to murder anyone, so it's good that you're looking.
It was the blog workshop, and I can't.
Oh, Da Vinci?
Da Vinci, yes. Da Vinci was talking about having a more engaged following, and she was right there. It's not just simply having the number of followers, but having folks who are engaging with your content, reading it, sharing it, commenting it. I find it seems to be easy to get people to reshare stuff than it is to actually comment and continue the discussion. That's something I've got to take a look at a little bit further out.
That makes sense though, because it's easy to click the button, retweet, we're done, and it's kind of sad that our humanity has gotten to the point where we're talking about like a 1 second difference.
Well, what I find interesting is everybody you read and you talk to talks about building a community of commentators, people who are engaged, getting past the first response, the second response. And I haven't seen too many. Occasionally I've bumped into a blog where they'll have a bit of a dialogue going on. So I'm wondering if it's the topic or the right people who are doing or following the blog. But yeah, you're right. It seems to be resharing and pushing out is pretty quick, maybe a quick like or something, or 1 or 2 word comment. But to try to build up a meaningful dialogue in the old-fashioned salon model, I haven't seen too much of that.
Gail, you have thoughts, right, as far as like Comment Love?
Well, yeah, Comment Love really helps, and there are some bloggers that have big commenting communities. One thing to remember is if your target audience is bloggers, you are going to have more engagement because bloggers like to write. All right, and then we have people like Adrian Smith has a massive commenting engagement. Christy Hines at Kikalani does. Trying to think of the other. Harlina has a really strong audience. They've built big audiences over time, and they tend to have a lot of commenters who are bloggers. And so, like, right now, I don't have the strong commenters I used to have because I've been busy working and I haven't been, interacting as much. if I want to get that back, I need to go and comment. And ideally, I would go and comment only on Comment Love blogs. Now, some people hate Comment Love, some of us love it, but the bottom line is Comment Love encourages comments because it encourages people to share one of their posts. You can share your last post, but most people, we share the post that's most relevant to what we're commenting on. Yep. So if I go comment on somebody using the GrowMap Anti-Spam Bot plugin, I might share the post to more information about that plugin. You know, if I'm commenting on something about local search, I might share a post about local search. And so Comment Love just gives you, it makes it easier for you to learn people. You know what's important to them. I used to like Keyword Love for the same reason, but I quit using it because Google hates it so much.
Makes sense. Con, are you familiar with Comment Love?
No, I'm not, but sounds like something I want to check out.
I don't know how, Gail, how would we explain it? It used to be really big as far as a do follow, because the idea was you'd visit, and there, by the way, there's no such thing as a do follow link, but do follow is like the opposite of putting a no follow tag. Right. So we used to give, quote unquote, do follow, which meant we didn't put no follow on the link when people would visit and give a comment. So that was something really valuable in building up, and God forbid I say this phrase, link juice. But obviously Google doesn't like that, so now we're all doing the no follow because we don't want the, or most of us are, we don't want the penalty. But like Gail said, there's still that benefit of you can put a link and get some brand attention when you put a comment in.
Right, so imagine this. You go to a blog, like you go to Christy Hines' blog, and she writes about social media, and all these people comment in her blog that are other bloggers, and they share a link to something about social media on their site. So as you read her post and then you read through the comments, if their comment's interesting to you, you can click on that link and go read that post they wrote, and then you're likely to comment there. We used to call it blog walking, where you would start at the blog you already knew, like Christy Hines, and you would read her content, and then you would click on some links to the comments, and then go and comment on these other blogs. And at one time, when it first started, early in Comment Love days, all the Comment Love bloggers in a particular community all knew each other. Because of that, the ability to go blog walking, you all commented on the same blogs. And it was unusual. Only one time did I ever land on a Comment Love blog where I didn't know anybody in the comments. So it's kind of like Cheers. You're going where everybody knows your name.
That's a great way to say it.
That's why Comment Love, that's why people loved it, is that you could go to a blog you've never been to, and there's Eileen commenting, and there's Christy commenting, and there's Adrian Smith, and Harlena Sang, and we all knew each other.
I think that's how we met too, Gal, and that's how I met Adrian Smith. There's so many people that I know now, and I think it was through Comment Love.
There was Kimberly Castleberry, and I mean a ton of us started out with all being Comment Love blogs, and then some people left, and it's like heartbreaking. They left the neighborhood, you know? Like Dragon Blogger left, and Eileen left, and we're like, no, don't leave. And so, yeah, I think Comment Love is still, like, let's say that you had a blog and you're not getting any search engine traffic. You could actually go out and just comment in Comment Love blogs and double your traffic in a day or two.
Now, is that still true as far as without the do follow process?
Yeah. Well, originally we gave do follow because we felt like if you are writing a good site and you take the time to read my site and comment on my site, you deserve a link. But Google, like you said, hated that. So now most of us do not have the links do followed anymore. But you still have the community, and you still have the ability to share a post that you hope will get those readers to come over to your blog. And like I said, I like to pick a link that allows me to share something related to the post I'm commenting in. Like if I were brand new at it, I might actually search for posts about a particular topic and then go and share a post that I've written recently. Comment Love Premium, which is not a free plugin, there's a Comment Love that's free. There's Comment Love Premium. Most of us use Comment Love Premium because it allows me to share any post I want. So if there's a page that's important to me, or there's an old post that I like to share.
Like your Gasp one.
Right. I can put that into Comment Love Premium and share that one, even though it's not one of my last 10 posts and it was published whenever, years ago.
And by the way, Con, just a little bit of trivia, and Gail can correct me because I know I won't say this exactly right, but the GASP is a part of the Comment Love Premium plugin. Maybe it's part of the free too, but Andy Bailey wrote it based on growmap.com.
Okay, I'll check it out. Thank you. So
Right,
that sounds
okay.
very useful.
So GASP, just to clarify, originally Comment Love was a free plugin, and then originally when I got flooded with spam, I was up to 1,000 spam a day, and it was making me insane. Somehow Phil Hollows, who started FeedBlitz, got Andy Bailey, who created Comment Love, to create the GrowMap anti-spam bot plugin, which is shortened to GASP. And now Comment Love Premium, which has additional features and it blocks spam better, and it's just really cool. And it had the do follow built in, and it has all kinds of cool stuff in it. It also, he incorporated the free GASP plugin into the Comment Love Premium plugin. And so now, the whole point of Comment Love Premium when they first announced it was that it eliminated a bunch of plugins. Like we used to run Comment Love and Anti-Spam Bot and Spam Blocker, Trackback Blocker, and a Do Follow plugin, and a Keyword Love plugin, and one others. I think there was like 6 or 7, and Comment Love Premium replaced all those plugins.
The subscribe one and the thank you one and all of that, and yeah, it's all in the Comment Love.
Thank you, and then your post just got another comment. You should come and reply to it. All this other stuff got rolled into the Comment Love Premium.
I'll check it out. Thank you.
And by the way, I know this isn't supposed to be a Comment Love like promo thing, but I have actually, when I've installed new WordPress, when I've moved the WordPress sites, that's what it is, and if I haven't enabled the Comment Love or I've missed it somehow when I've moved it, if I even wait, like in one day, I'll get 300 comments, which isn't the thousands that Gail's talking about, but I mean, that's how much it blocks the spam. Because if I wait like 3 days, my comments are going up to 1,000 without Comment Love. So I use it if for no other reason than to block that spam.
Yeah, I needed it for my blog. I actually had volunteers to delete the crap because Kismet's useless against spam bots. But, and I will tell you, 1,000 comments dropped to 40. 960 were left by bots.
That's really good.
I basically, like, when I work with other people, if I'm going to manage their blog, they're going to run GASP. If they won't run GASP, I refuse to manage comments because I don't have time to go weed through all that. The worst thing about Akismet is that it puts your real comments in with all the crap. And so even though it dumps them all into spam, you have to go through every one of them because all of your real comments will be in with all that spam bot stuff.
Very interesting.
If everybody like me, I'm still flagged by Akismet. I haven't even commented anywhere very often for like months because I've been busy and then I was sick, and still Akismet probably thinks I'm a spammer. If you comment a lot, you will end up being flagged by Akismet, almost guaranteed.
Good to know. Good to know. Okay, so we are at the end of our half hour, and what is some advice or action steps that we can give people as far as wrapping up this series on social strategy and social media marketing?
I would just say that they should have a program when they approach their social media. I think just looking at the topics that we did for the 2nd through 9th sessions here would be a good starting point. And I think it's important also to remember that those are just opening topics. You really need to drill down to each one of those and adapt them for your own business purposes.
Good advice. Gail?
Well, I think you just have to decide what you want to do first. And so, like, what I would recommend is, let's say that you're brand new, you don't do anything yet. Create all your profiles, put your bios out there, start using something that feeds content, find some great content and feed it into each of your accounts. That way they can grow on autopilot. Even if you get busy and you don't do anything, you won't lose followers, you'll still have some content going out. And then just focus on one at a time. First, like, decide you want to get good at Twitter, interact quite a bit on Twitter. When that becomes habit and you just automatically do it every day, then add the next network and the next one. Don't try to take them on all at once. Do one, get comfortable with it, add another one, get comfortable with it, add another one. And that's how some of us now have accounts all over, because we got really good at one and then went on to the next one. And
Good advice.
Good advice.
On your browser, you can set it to open certain windows. what I do is I have Firefox set up that when I turn Firefox on, it automatically opens my blog and Trello. Then when I turn Chrome on, it automatically opens Community and Twitter, and you know, I might have something else on there. And so what you do is you set up your browsers to automatically open those sites so you can't forget them. And then you'll have them open and you can play with them. And then maybe you'll decide you want to use Sue next. So maybe you'll have the browser open Community and Twitter and Sue.
Yep.
And so I try to keep all my content-related stuff in Firefox and all my social media-related stuff in Twitter. The Twitter-related stuff and the other social medias I put in Chrome, except Facebook, which I open in Firefox. But you can pick either one, but you just save your tabs so that when you start your computer, as soon as you open the browser, you have a head start. And then I put in Trello like a list of what do I want to do, so I can check it off. And so the list might say I'm going to tweet and I'm going to follow 10 people. So my little list might say I'm going to log into Twitter, respond to anybody that's talked to me, and I'm going to follow 10 people. And you just check it off. And then it might say I'm going to log into Facebook and I'm going to, you know, share one post. I want to encourage people to spend more time interacting and less time creating content. For every piece of content you create, spend at least as much time promoting it as you spent writing it, and spend at least that much time again in interacting. You're better off doing one post a week, and promoting it well and answering all the comments than writing every single day and not doing the rest.
Good job. Good advice.
Good.
And guys,
Very good.
we have tools coming up that will help you do some of this stuff, and hopefully even Trello in the next series. Gail mentioned that. So if you want to know what's going on, you can go to socialcafechat.com/Twitter-calendar. And in a few minutes, that'll start populating for the series, so you'll be able to see what tools are coming up. Also, you'll be able to review the summaries from this last series. If you want to see the archives of the Twitter chat, some tips, some highlighted tweets, you can see that at socialcafechat.com. Thank you for joining us for Social Cafe, and we'll see you same time, same place next week.
Take care. Be good.
Bye.
Bye.